ser smurf, ja. Ser och gjort service på skäne. Skriv på ser rullar och få stor.
Back in 2018, I had set out a plan in Latin America. I had set out the plan to visit some haciendas, the colonial haciendas. Like many things in life, the colonialism has a bright side and also a dark side. The bright side of the colonialism is the beauty of their architecture, the high ceilings, the bright colors, the columns and the archways. So I went to Cuba and I visited some plantations where the conquistadores, mainly from Spain, built some beautiful houses to keep an eye on the plantations, to keep an eye on their slaves, because of course they would not do the work themselves, they needed some manpower. So they used the indigenous people they found there. They had to work hard. They were not treated so nicely. And the haciendas are now museums about the history of that period. The history also about the slavery. And in one of the haciendas, something happened to me. In one of the museums in Cuba, I was standing right in front of some devices to punish disobedient slaves. And one of the devices consisted of 2 wooden beams with 3 holes in it. A big hole in the middle and 2 smaller holes at the sides. The big hole was for the neck of the slaves, and the other holes were for the wrists or the ankles of the slaves. And in that museum was also a picture of a black woman, a black slave woman, in that device. And it was as if she became alive on that black and white picture. And she looked me straight in the eyes. And I felt that she was calling for help. Do something. Help me. And tears were swelling in my eyes, and my heart started bleeding. And the expression on her face has haunted me for nights. And in myself I yelled, I shouted it out to the universe. How come we humans are so cruel to each other? How come we are so mean to each other? And the answer came. A few weeks later, I needed some patience, the right circumstances to receive the answer. Because 2 weeks later I was in Havana. And one day, all of a sudden in the morning, there was a red rush coming on my skin. And I started feeling dizzy, and some stiffness was coming up in my bones, in my joints. And the lady from the B&B said, called a taxi for me. And a few minutes later I was in the emergencies of a hospital in Havana. They drew some blood, they took a sample, and when they came back with the analysis, I was diagnosed with dengue. And then I was put into an ambulance, and another 15 minutes later or half an hour later, I was in the hospital of tropical diseases in Havana. And I stayed there for the rest of the day. And also the next day, and also the next day. And I was delirious all the time with the dengue fever. And I'm gonna tell you what I saw. When I left, when I was released from the hospital, Marilyn, a Cuban nurse from the billing department, told me, "You're just walking out. You have been lucky. Because you know, on this floor, people died of dengue." I still remember vividly sitting in the billing department in Marilyn's office, at her desk, in my pajamas, writing an email to my loved ones back home. And now I'm still writing emails with her. The visits to the museums in the haciendas were still working on in me. And I was still haunted by the eyes of the black slave woman. And what I saw in the hospital bed was that nothing really changed. Okay, the slavery was abolished, but still Cuba, as many other Latin American countries, were plagued by dictatorships, one after the other. And also in the Western world. Okay, now there's the 38 hours work week and the 9 to 5 working day, but still the wagons of the slaves, the trains and the subways are going back and forth between the homes and the working places. Anything has changed? Nothing really changed. And the other thing I saw is even more shocking. It was as if I was taken into space, as if my vision was zoomed out and I could see the beautiful blue-green planet from space. And I knew on that moment that the people of Earth, the human race, is being ruled over by another race of beings, an extraterrestrial race. I saw from space that planet Earth and her people are a colony of another race of beings, a colony of an empire of that race. Mankind is more innocent than we thought, because the behavioral pattern, the pattern to exploit resources, to go looting the villages and raping the women and killing the children like the conquistadores did, that pattern came seeping into our DNA. It's not who we are. It's not a real human essence. We've been divided and conquered. And the Romans weren't the first. This is a clue to the answer. This is why we are causing so much suffering on each other. And what if now, in the coming times, testimonies are coming up that show, that testify of the existence of other races, other beings that have visited Earth? And what if they left objects, technology that's way far advanced than we know? There's nothing to prove. I'm not going to prove anything to you. The mind needs proof. But if we are willing to open up and to let go of everything we thought was true, then the testimonies will come to us. We will also be open to see the testimonies coming up in these times. On the hospital bed, in my feverish dreams, I felt a voice urging in my heart, saying, share your experiences. Share the memoirs of the Maya mission. But I objected. The problem is, man does not believe in extraterrestrial life. No one's gonna believe this. No one's gonna believe this. No one's gonna believe me. And the answer came, just start telling your story now.
Ser det var realt mättande för. Ni nog skriv och ser det för.
Blue beings, green beings, brown beings, are we able to embrace so many differences? Are we able to embrace even more differences than we have already among us on the earth? The contact that will follow with the civilians of earth, the people of earth, is with benevolent beings. We've been divided and conquered for millennia. Now the time has come. Planet Earth is being liberated and the human race is being freed. This is what I wanted to tell you. At the fire, at night. Welcome.
Smurf, Asia. Ser du ser spörsken. Skriv på ser Rolanda. Vår stor ripse.
Dit is Surama van Casa Surama en Habana Vieja. Surama, voy a darte un beso. Que vaya bien, gracias.
Okay. Vale.